Hey guys, I'm back. I've been out here for about 2.5 hours, maybe a little longer, and I'm out in the woods here and I'm picking longleaf pine needles. I'm picking, the dried up ones, but they're still very fresh and bendable and stuff. And right here in this bag, I got roughly a little over 6 pounds. Bag's about 3/4 of the way full, if not more. And I got roughly around 3 pounds of needles. And all the needles I got are 13 inches and longer. I did very well. I came out here and I found this big old longleaf pine tree. I don't know how old it is, but it's probably around 2 feet across. And I could probably barely put my arms around the tree. It's a big tree, and I'm a pretty big guy. So I checked out around under the tree. I walked around, and normally what I'll do is I'll walk around. Here's one here that's green. It's kind of turning brown. But I'll walk around and I'll grab them, and then I'll put, well, if I was new, I'd put my foot like that. That's it. Okay, see that? That needle next to my foot is longer than my foot. That's like a 14-inch needle. So, and I might do that a couple times. Well, I used to do that when I was new at it, but now what I do is it's something similar. I'll grab a handful like this. I just grab a handful from anywhere, and then I'll throw them down. I'll look at them. I'll say, oh yeah, they're all over 10, 11 inches. So they're good. I could use these needles. Anything over 11 inches is good because that's what I sell. I sell them between 11 and up to 20 and longer inches. And all these needles here are longer. And I wanted to show you something else. These needles they come in like a cluster. Like one needle is 3 needles. So if you look at this one needle, it's 3 in 1. That's a cluster. That one needle, I'm gonna try to get it right here. That one needle is 3 needles, and that's one needle. And I want to show you how they bend. Well, you could see it. This one here is partially green. You see how it bends. It ain't gonna break. It could bend around. You could tie it like. If you tie it into a knot, it's going to break. Now here's a very dry one. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll show you. This dry one, I'm bending it. See it bend? See that? It ain't breaking. It's bendable. And I'm going to grab a couple of dry ones. I'm going to show you the same thing. These 3 dry ones, I'm bending them. See them bending? You don't see them breaking, right? They're good. These are good needles. They're good, flexible needles. They fell from the tree not long ago, and they're excellent needles. So I'm just going to put these in my bag, but that's not how I pick them. I can't pick them because I got one hand. I normally pick these with 2 hands. So sorry about getting a little nervous. Heard a car drive by or something. And, you're in the woods, you got to be careful because there are animals out here. And you got to watch. So anyway, what I want to say, this 6 pounds of needles or more, I sell them for $27 a pound. So it comes out to roughly $162 profit that I would make from these needles. And that is after I wash them, then I rinse them, and then I dry them, and then I bundle them. Now the way I do it, sometimes I'll do it like this. I'll weigh out 8 ounces of these needles when I go home. I'll have one sink, I have a double sink. I'll have one sink filled up with hot water, hot soapy water, with a shot glass of vinegar in it. I'll take 8 ounces of this. I'll weigh 8 ounces on a scale. I'll put that in that soapy water. I'll let it soak for a couple minutes. I'll take it out. I'll put it in the other sink. I'll roll it up with yarn or string. I'll tie up that 8-ounce bundle. Then I'll put another one in the sink. I'll let it soak for a couple minutes. I'll take it out. I'll put a string around it or yarn around it. I'll get another 8-inch bundle. And then that'll go in the other sink where it's drying. And then after I get a whole bunch of these 8-ounce bundles, I'll start with my 1-ounce bundles. So what I'll do is I'll put 1 ounce in the sink and I'll have it pointing one way, and then I'll put another ounce in the sink over that, and it'll be like an X over it. It'll be crossed over the opposite way, and then I'll take another ounce, weigh it, and then I'll put that in the sink, and I'll cross that over the other way, and I'll take another ounce until I get like 6-7 ounces in the sink, and they're all like crisscrossed over each other. And I'll let them soak for a couple minutes, and I'll take them out one at a time because they'll be crisscrossed. I'll take out 1 ounce. I'll tie it with the string, throw it in the drying sink. I'll take out another ounce. I'll throw it in the drying sink. Another ounce, I'll throw it in the drying sink. And I'll, tie it up. And then once I get all my pine needles, they're all done. Then I'll take all these pine needles that are still a little wet, but they're all bundled, and I'll put these outside, and I'll put them on a different drying rack, and I'll leave them out there for a day, and I'll let them dry out. Then I'll bring them back in the house, and I'll put them in bags or whatever so they get air once they're dry, and they'll be up on the internet, and as they sell, they go in boxes and they get shipped out. And that's how we do it. And I've been doing this for 4 years. I know I keep saying that. And because I've been doing this for 4 years, I have a lot of clientele. I have a lot of people. So I move them pretty quick. I move the needles pretty fast. Sometimes I'll get rid of 80, 120 pounds in a month. And then I have slow months. Once in a great while, I'll only get rid of like maybe 60 pounds or something. But majority of the time it's between 80 and 120 pounds I'm selling a month. Besides other things that I do sell. I don't just sell pine needles. I sell other things. I sell antiques. I sell different stuff. I have a store. I've been doing this for a while. But I enjoy this. It's good exercise for me. I get out. I'm picking needles. I'm doing my thing. Doing what I like. But the main thing is, like I said about picking the needles, if you go to a spot and you see, you look under a big old tree and you see the needles and they're only 8 inches long or something, they're no good. You don't want them needles. There are a bunch of kids driving by over there on the road. So if you get a bunch of needles and they're under a tree and they're like 8, and you're picking them up and you're noticing 8 inches one, that you got to throw them back because you don't want them. Because people they don't want to buy 8-inch needles. They want to buy them as long as you can get them. So that don't mean you look around, strain your eyes, and say, "Oh, I'm only going to get 20-inch ones," because that'll take you forever too. But what I do is I have a range between 11 and 20 inches and up if they're longer. And you don't really like them real long ones. I mean, it's good to put them in a bundle. That's something to talk about. People like talking about them. But they're hard to pack, them real long ones. But up to 20 inches, fine. They could go in the box. I could pack them fine. And, down to 11, up to 20, I pack them fine. The ones over there, I got to bend them and stuff, getting them in the box. But they do bend. They're flexible. But, yeah, I'll walk around the tree and I'll look. They're driving by again. You hear there's little kids. They're up on they got a sunroof. It's open. They're screaming. Okay, so here comes another car with some kids in it. They're playing around. It's all right. So, what was I saying now? I'm getting sidetracked here. Oh, yeah. So what you want to do is here, I'm grabbing I grab these needles right here. I'm just grabbing them. I'm trying to show you with my camera. Now, I grab these. You can see they're all long. That's long. All these needles are over 12 inches long. They're all long needles. And you could look around and see all these needles are long. Yeah, I could put my foot next to them. You see my foot. Look at the needle. Look how long all these needles are over 13 inches long. So, I mean, I used to, in the beginning, I had to put them next to my foot and measure and everything, and now I just pick them up and I know how long they are just as soon as I look at them. Because I've been doing it for a while. Now I'm 10 feet away from the tree. And here's a green one that fell. It looks pretty looking. It's got this green color to it. It's like kind of sparkly looking or something. But, hey, I'm gonna come over here, and now I'm probably about 15 feet away from this tree, and there's another green one that fell, and I can see, but here's one hanging. It's hanging on a smaller tree. I'm gonna grab that and pull it off. And a lot of them will fall like that. I'm gonna put that on the ground. And that's on the ground. I'm going to put my foot next to that and show you. See that? That's like 13 inches long. So yeah, they're all long. And this is a great spot. And that's why I came here, because I knew of this tree and I know of this spot. And I scope out areas. I walk sometimes. I walk in the woods and I look at all the different trees, and I try to get an idea of good spots, and then I mark them out. And then I don't always want to pick in the backyard or in the front yard. It's, sometimes I got to go out for a walk and I got to get some exercise and I got to look around. So I'll go out and I'll look around, I'll scope out some trees where I see some nice long needles, and I'll say, okay, I'll remember this spot. So this spot right here is where them long needles are, and that's where I'm going to go when I want to pick, when I don't want to be picking in the backyard today. I want to go somewhere else. So then I'll go do that, and I enjoy it. I'll walk out and get my exercise, do a little walk, do a little picking. So here's the tree I'm going up. It's a big tree, and I know when you look up there, it's like, oh, there's nothing up there. Oh no, that up there in that tree, it's over 100 pounds of needles. I'm guessing. I'm not guessing. I'm pretty sure that's over 100 pounds of needles in this tree. And this ain't the only tree. There's a couple small ones around it, but that's the major tree is right here. And they're falling out of this tree, and they're all around it. They're 10 feet out, 12 feet out, and some of them blow in the wind. They get 20 feet away from the tree, and they're all over the ground here. The ground is packed with these. Oh wow, here comes that car again. Okay, I don't have to worry about getting attacked by any wild animals out here. I got the screaming kids driving by me. But, all right. So, I wanted you to see that I spent like 2.5 hours. I picked all these needles, and it's worth $162, but it's got to be washed and rinsed and dried and bundled. And these 6 pounds, this will be gone in a day. Tomorrow, this will be gone. I'll be out here again. But I got a couple pounds home to hold me over. But I've been running low. I've been selling them. So I've been running back out and getting them, running back out and getting them. I got to do it day in, day out, because I'm selling like 80 pounds in a month, and in the least. So I got to be out here picking these needles to get them. So I do what I got to do. But so if you want to do it, if you're thinking of doing this, remember you want to find them in abundance. You don't want to go where there's an area and there's only one long one and one short one, and one long and one short one, because you'll be there picking them needles. You'll be there for 5 hours to get like a couple pounds. But if you come under a big old tree like this one I'm under, you come here, and they're all like 13 inches and up, and you just pick up a handful and grab them, and every one is long. You don't have to, no throwbacks. You're not throwing them back on the ground because they're all keepers. Then you can real quick slide them through your hand, get them all pointing the same direction, throw them in the bag, do it again, repeat, do it again. In no time at all. Look at 2.5 hours, I picked 6 pounds, $160. Now, if I was in an area where they weren't abundant, it would take me maybe 5 hours to get that same 6 pounds. And sometimes that happens. You'll have a dry spell, no wind, no nothing. And you'll go scope out areas and all the needles are dried up and there's nothing there. And you're like, wait a minute, there's nothing here. I got to move. I got to look for another area with an abundant amount of needles. And then you'll search and you scope out and you get different areas. And that's what I do. I knew about this area and I have other areas where I'll go. So if they get dried up in my yard or there's not an abundancy of them in my yard because there's no windstorms or nothing, I'll go look for a big old tree in the woods, a big old tree. And then I'll go under that big old tree and I'll look, and if they're good, I know where I'm picking. And I have a lot of areas that I know where to go. And that's what I do. But the majority of my needles I do get from my backyard and front yard. A majority of them. But every now and then, I come out and do this. And it's good. It's healthy for me. And I like doing it. I don't mind doing it. Because otherwise they're just going to sit here and rot and turn it to dirt anyway. So, same thing with my yard. My yard, my yard, they get so bad, I got to rake. If I don't rake them up, it's like a fire hazard. I had them in my front driveway where they've gotten like a foot high. It was so ridiculous. And I was telling my wife, I was saying, if these things ever went on fire, man, I mean, we'd have a big, these things, they go up like that, poof, they burn really fast. I mean, we would have a major fire. So what I do is I keep that front yard clear. I rake them in piles sometimes, I have to rake them, I keep them in piles. And yeah, I'll pick through them and stuff, but they're like, I don't like them when they're real thick and stuff, because it's scary, it's dangerous. It's a fire hazard. Same thing in the woods. In the woods, when they get real abundant, I see in some areas what they'll do is they'll have guys come out that collect them, and they'll have them rake them up and they'll throw them in their truck and they'll bring them and they'll sell them to somebody to throw them in their yard or whatever they do with them. I don't know. Or somebody might just come out and get some and rake them up and throw them, bring him in his pickup truck and bring him home and throw him in his garden or around his tree or whatever he does with them. But that's good. Like me, I come here, I'll pick 5-6 pounds. Big deal. It's nothing. I mean, these things are hundreds of pounds here, hundreds of pounds, just under this one tree. Which I'd be here day and night trying to pick that. All right. I have a habit of rambling on. I don't mean to. All right, I would love to have some subscribers. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. I know I'm very new at YouTube. I just started. I'm trying this. I'm going to have a couple different channels. This is one of my channels. It's going to be about picking pine needles and helping guys and girls and whoever that wants to do it or wants to pick them, or maybe you're a basket weaver and you're not sure on how to pick them or why you're getting short ones and you can't find long ones. Well, follow me and you'll learn how to pick them. I mean, do what I do. You won't be out there for 5 hours going home with a little pound of pine needles. You'll be able to go with a little supply where you could make a couple dozen baskets, if not more. All right, guys, I'm going to go. Over and out. Bye.